When you look at the word church, C is the third letter, H is the eighth letter, U is the 21st, 2 plus 1 equals 3, and R is the 18th. So that's 318. You know why? Because of Revelation 13:18, the mark of the beast, where they talk about the Antichrist and that. Also, 3:8, 3:8, and 3:8, 3 plus 8 equals 11. So when you look at the code for church, not only do you have the 13:18, you have 11, 11, 11. K is the 11th letter. So you also have KKK. When you consider that the world considers the Masons, the Freemasons, to have this esoteric knowledge, they refer to it as 33rd degree gematria. It's because the 11, 11, 11 equals 33. The Creator just made me aware of another thing, and that is that 3 times 8 is 24. So we have 24, 24, 24, and 2 plus 4 is 6. So we actually have 6, 6, 6. So who are they really talking about in Revelation 13:18? Themselves. Obviously, KKK is short for Ku Klux Klan. This is just the beginning, and I hope you continue to watch, because what I am about to tell you has everything to do with what's happening in our world and who the church really is, and why there is so much darkness hiding behind that curtain. Oftentimes when you listen to singers, rappers, refer to Lulu, that's like Lucifer.
Then I met the devil in God's country.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
With the chief commander.
On this earth?
And in this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
Watching the album where you speak to Lucy, Lucifer.
Yeah. Speaking of Lulu and Lucifer, check out a couple of things. This is Kirk Johnson on his Kirk Drums Instagram, and this I think was in April 15th, 2015, and he says, in Cali, hanging with his oldest daughter, and then he says, ooh, look, Lulu. So I jumped in there, and of course I said something about Lucy and that I was watching, but they don't seem to care. But it has to do with Kirk Johnson and all the clones and lookalikes over at Paisley Park. Believe that. Ku Klux. It has Lulu right here. That's first. Second, you'll notice that there's the X, which is where we get X marks the spot. When you look at it in lowercase, you can see that if you were to look at the KL as a KI or a CI, it's Cain, much like Cain and Abel or Vada Cain. It's because C and K phonetically make the same sound. Or luck for lucky, because there is no such thing as luck. It's all the Creator in charge of everything. It's where the word lux for like luxury comes from. Consider the Merovingian family. That is the 13th Illuminati Luciferian bloodline, the most secretive and most powerful. Vampiric. What I want you to look at are the letters M, R, V, G. Because over here, what do we have? GVMT. You don't see the T, but that's where the cross comes from, and that's my point. It's the giant. GVMT. The reason it's the giant, the GVMT, is because to have the Merovingian family and you add a T, it becomes the word giant, which is the cross, which we have right here. So the code to the cross, again, C is the third, the giant letter, R is the 18th letter, and then OSS, because O is the 6th letter and S is the 19th letter. And the reason I wrote that is because it still coincides with 1318, and the 619 is much like an ID 19 code. I mean, it looks that way anyway. So T is the 20th letter. So T equals 2 because 0 is 0. So consider that they try to write a New Testament. The word testament has the big T in it too. And not only that, it's literally the words test, amen, with the T from the giant. That's the brainwashing T. Don't drink the tea. Anyway, you guys, the fact that they call this, the fact that they have the nerve to call it a New Testament, when you're talking about the Torah doesn't expire. It doesn't have an expiration date. The truth doesn't have an expiration date. And the fact that they thought that they could come along and rewrite and call it transcribed and transliterated, and they would create this Jewish man named Jesus that would come over and teach this new version to the Americas and Spanish Inquisition and force and rape and Catholicism and Satanic Church in the 16th century and all that, to get rid of the actual truth. They wanted to bring in what they like to call the New Testament. There's no such thing. Believe that. Notice that the word testa, when you look at it in the upside down reverse writing, it's much like Tesla, if you just turn the T upside down, or Lestat, who is, of course, the famous vampire Lestat. And also Sata is most of the name of Satan. So these things that I'm saying, they may not be 100% accurate. And oftentimes I let my confidence get the best of me and I don't come on and talk about it. But when I look around in the world at what's being done and the muscle that everybody's rooting for Trump to come in with, it's disgusting, because they're all same side of the coin. They're just pretending. It's like watching a movie through a kaleidoscope and it's a joke. It's why they say T-2 and counting at NASA. The T is equal to a 2. And that's super important, because when you're in the tree of life and you're studying things, this is a very crude tree, and the reason I drew it, it was just a scribble to show you that when the one we know as Prince wrote into his lyrics this story that I'm sharing with you, it's because when you study the tree of life, each attribute of the Creator, like number 1 would be Keter or Kedem, and number 2 is Bina, number 2 it's Beit in Hebrew, means 2, and it also represents the female portion, the wisdom of the female in the tree of life. So that explains why Prince's nickname was known to be Skip Her, because they're saying skip her. Remember, I'm not a woman, I'm not a man, I'm something you'll never understand. And again, it says rock around the clock because music comes from a place of knowledge and hearing. And when I was in the afterlife, I explained, I believe, the majority of my life knowing I attributed to hearing music, and of course reading a lot of other things. But it's the reason why Prince made his symbol as the thing, and it also represents some letters. I want to stick to the point that the 2 is the female portion, of which the T2 is trying to erase the knowledge of by replacing her, skip her, with Jesus. God forbid. Now, I know this may sound weird because it sounds still strange to me, and I say it and I live it every day for 5 years now, but it becomes more and more clear, and I'm still nowhere near knowing. Anyway, this word dermita, it's a sleep that is almost as death. This is from my Rabbi Rav Jor. This sleep that is almost as death, it was explained that sleep is like 1/60th of being dead, which is 1/6, or like an ID-19. Remember that. Now, over the last week or so, I've come to some understandings that when I was in the life after, and it was being explained to me that my life after death scenario was definitely not happenstance. I was there to find out who I am. I was there to find out who Hashem is, the Creator, and to bring that knowledge back to this place. And part of understanding that was coming to this understanding, and I've mentioned it before in a couple videos. The Creator explained to me something, and it's going to sound weird, but I know there's a lot of people out there talking about how we live in a simulation, or how there's people glitching out, or this or that, robotoids, non-humanoids. I call them soulless ones. There is a certain pre-made class of people who have been, they're out there for a reason. But anyway, this sleep that we're in, you guys, since 2020, since the New Year's Eve 2019 to 2020, I want you to think back, and I think hard, because I looked up my journal and I found out that's when the Creator started talking to me. And like I said, just recently I came to this conclusion and remembrance that not only did I experience the life after death, it was an orchestrated death to explain to me that we as people, humans, have been, I don't even know, and it's hard to say the words. I don't know if somehow, some way we're in some kind of hyper sleep or something like they show on The Matrix. But I know that the Creator explained to me that He alone is responsible for waking us up every day, and that's why we're to thank Him upon waking, for bringing our neshama back to our body. But during this sleep, our mind can be manipulated and changed, and the darkness and the evil that's in the world can, I don't know, man. I don't know. There's lyrics about it. So we were always forewarned of these things, because He told me that He wrote all of this knowledge into the lyrics, and that's part of the reason I was brainwashed for 40 years. And yes, it is a tactic. It was explained to me that the tactics, some people will call all of the music industry evil, because they're tapping straight into your memory banks. Outcast. I'm getting off subject. This recreation that we've been brought back in, I think it had something to do with the 2019-2020 turnover, because it's the reason Purple Rain was written in a suspended 2 chord. I've talked about it before. Go look up what it means. Purple Rain is probably the biggest Prince song ever, and he made sure everybody would know it. And when you look up how it's played, it's written with a suspended 2 chord. The suspended 2 is meant to reference the suspension or skip her of the Bina and the wisdom in the 2. That's what he explained to me. I know it sounds big. It is big. It's giant to me. And I am trying to have everybody wake up, because I myself am waking up. I have been for almost 5 years. This has been going on now. And I still, the more I talk, the more I get to remember. So I'm trying to be really clear in my admission that I very much recall the Creator saying something about time had ended New Year's Eve of 1999. Somehow, some way, I don't know. Perhaps it's CERN, perhaps it's projections, perhaps it's, what do you call them, holograms. I don't really recall all the details, but it's very electric. All of the weather, all of the fires, all of the wars, that stuff was written into what they call their New Testament, because they knew what they were planning a long, long time ago, and it's been unfolding for a long, long time. And now we're at that place where people are seeing Hollywood go down, hopefully pedophilia and trafficking and all that stuff with it. But don't be mistaken. They're out there masquerading as the good guys, and it's our jobs to recognize who they are by waking up, you guys, by listening to what I'm saying, by recognizing that I was in the life after, talking to angels, accounting for myself in heaven's court, and I would never come here and lie. Trust and believe that.